Welcome to the Explainer. So, if you've opened up literally any social media app recently, your feed has probably been completely flooded with these glamorous, high-energy reels about joining the Merchant Navy. People everywhere are captivated by the idea of traveling the globe, experiencing life at sea, and, of course, the promise of a pretty lucrative career. But with all that viral hype comes a massive wave of confusion, and unfortunately, a whole lot of misleading advice. Today, we're going to cut straight through all that noise. We're going to map out the real, legitimate pathways to join the Merchant Navy so you can navigate this industry safely, avoid the incredibly costly traps, and find the exact route that perfectly matches your educational background. Okay, let's dive into this. We've got a really solid career map for you today. We're going to look at the hype versus the reality, the GP rating path for 10th graders, the deck officer route for 12th graders, engineering and IT roles, and finally, how to avoid the notorious OpenCDC scam. Let's get started. Section 1. The hype versus the reality. Before we even talk about how to get onto a ship, we desperately need to have an honest conversation about what actually happens once you are on board. Consider this your quick mentor reality check. You know those highly aesthetic sea life videos online? They make it look like a permanent paid vacation. But the reality? You will literally be working, not making reels. You've got to be mentally prepared for this, guys. The workload is incredibly heavy, especially during those initial training periods. You are going to face some serious hard labor. And why? Because the ultimate goal of that grueling training is to forge you into a competent, highly skilled officer who can manage massive sea vessels. It's a hugely demanding life, so you really have to leave those glamorous social media expectations right at the dock. Section 2, 10th grade entry. Let's shift gears and focus on the pathway specifically designed for those who maybe don't have the financial backing or the opportunity to pursue higher education right after the 10th grade. We're talking about the GP rating. GP stands for general purpose. If continuing your academic studies just isn't an option right now, this 6-month course is essentially your gateway to the sea. But listen up, because you have to be incredibly careful here. The fees for this course range anywhere from 2 to 4 lakhs. That is a massive investment. Because of that, it is absolutely crucial that you complete this training at a highly reputed maritime institute. Think places like NUS IGOA, TS Rahaman, or colleges run directly by the shipping companies themselves. Why is this so important? Well, if you drop up to 4 lakhs on a lesser-known, low-tier institute and you don't secure a job right out of the gate, you become the perfect target for greedy agents. They'll demand another 3 to 4 lakhs just to get you on a ship. So choose your institute very, very wisely. And this brilliantly illustrates exactly what your career ladder looks like if you take the GP rating route. On any commercial ship, you basically have 3 main departments. If you join the deck side, you're going to start as a trainee OS. That's an ordinary seaman. With hard work and promotions, you can eventually rise to bosun or pumpman. Now, if the engine room is more your calling, you'll start out as a trainee oiler, working your way up to oiler, motorman, or fitter. And finally, if you join the galley, the culinary department, you'll begin as a general steward, or GS, and can completely climb the ranks to chief cook based on your performance. Now, a question I hear all the time is, can I do the GP rating and eventually become a deck officer? The technical answer? Sure, yes. But I really want you to consider this quote right from our source material. I would never suggest GP rating if you want to be an officer tomorrow. It's so vital to understand that transitioning from a rating to an officer is not a walk in the park. It involves massive complications, incredibly tough exams, and extreme sea time requirements. If your ultimate ambition is to be an officer, do not use the GP rating thinking it's a shortcut. Actually, scratch that. It's pretty much the longest, hardest way around. Section 3. 12th grade entry for deck officers. So let's say you're currently in the 12th grade and your sights are set on becoming a deck officer. What's the right path for you? Let's talk about the absolute best course available, the Diploma in Nautical Science, or DNS. This is a 1-year program that puts you right on track to becoming a deck officer, and it can even lead to a full BSc in nautical science. But, and it's a big but, the gates to this path are strictly guarded by academic prerequisites. You absolutely must have a 10+2 in science. You need a minimum of 60% in physics, chemistry, and mathematics combined. You also need a minimum of 60% in English. And to address the elephant in the room that comes up constantly, sorry guys, but if you took biology or arts in the 12th grade, this specific route is entirely closed to you. Oh, and a quick pro tip, the higher your scores are above that 60% baseline, the better the companies that will actually look at your profile. Now, what's really interesting about this next concept is how the industry defines sponsorship.
In the normal college world, right, a sponsorship usually means somebody is paying your tuition fees. Well, in the merchant navy, it means something entirely different and honestly, infinitely more valuable. Sponsorship here means you're securing a guaranteed job with a top maritime company before you even start your studies or take your entrance exams. Without this in hand, nobody is guaranteeing you a job after your course finishes. It's a real game changer. You absolutely have to prioritize securing a sponsorship first by applying directly through the websites of the top 20 maritime companies.
So here is the exact step-by-step pipeline for the DNS route. Step 1, you crack the company exam to secure that all-important sponsorship we just talked about. Step 2, clear the IMUCET. That's the Indian Maritime University Common Entrance Test. Once you have both of those locked down, step 3 is actually completing your one-year DNS course. And finally, step 4 is heading out to a ship for your onboard training, which is then followed by even more rigorous exams. And hey, don't stress if you happen to miss the main August batch. There's also a February batch where a lot of companies will reopen their sponsorship forms so you get a second shot. Section 4, Engineering and ITI Roles. Let's turn our compass toward those of you who have the engineering bug. A massive benefit of working on the engine side of a ship is that it opens up a huge amount of technical onshore jobs later on, whenever you eventually decide to stop sailing. If you want to be a marine engineer, you've got some really robust options. The standard route is a 4-year BTech in marine engineering taken at a maritime institute via the IMU exams or at private colleges like Talani. But what if you already have a standard mechanical engineering degree? Well, you're in luck. You can do a 1-year GME course followed by 6 months of ship training to become a 4th engineer. You even have the option of lateral entry into a maritime institute after completing just 1 year of a standard mechanical engineering degree. Let's move on to a highly requested, super specialized role, the Electro-Technical Officer, commonly known as the ETO. Modern ships are essentially floating smart cities now, and they desperately need electrical experts. To take this route, you need either a 3-year diploma or a full 4-year degree specifically in electrical or electronics engineering. Once you have that solid foundation, you jump into a specialized 4-month maritime course at a recognized institute. After you clear the subsequent exams, you'll join a company as a trainee ETO and work your way up the ladder from there. Now there are also a couple of alternative specialized routes to get you on board. If you've completed specific ITI trades, like an ITI fitter for instance, you can't become an engineer, but you can do a 6-month course to join the engine department as a fitter or the deck department as a pumpman. Similarly, if you happen to have a background in hotel management, you can complete your basic STCW safety courses, get your CDC document, and apply directly for chief cook roles. However, as our source material notes, pursuing the standard GP rating is often the safer, much more reliable bet for getting a secure footing in the industry. Section 5. The Open CDC Scam. Okay, I need to drop the enthusiasm for just a second here, take on a bit of a strict mentor tone, and be very protective of you guys. We need to talk about the absolute biggest, most dangerous trap in the maritime industry today. Let's break down exactly how this scam works. Shady agents and low-tier institutes are going to try to sell you what I call the lie. They'll tell you that if you just pay for a quick 1 to 2 month basic STCLQ course, they'll magically hand you an open CDC. That's a continuous discharge certificate. And they promise you'll immediately get a ship and start printing big money. Guys, that is a trap. Here is the harsh, unfiltered reality. Absolutely zero reputable shipping companies hire open CDC candidates. None. If you take this supposed shortcut, you're going to find yourself completely jobless, having entirely wasted your hard-earned money. Stick to the recognized standard courses we mapped out today, please. Section 6. Next steps. Wow, okay, we have covered a massive amount of ground today in this explainer. We navigated everything from the harsh reality of hard labor on deck to the exact academic requirements of the DNS, the engineering pathways, and of course, those awful scams you have to avoid. The absolutely most critical takeaway from all of this is the importance of choosing a legitimate path that strictly matches your current educational background, whether that's 10th grade, 12th grade science, or an engineering degree. But look, this is a vast ocean of a topic, and I know for sure you have more questions. So, what are your exact doubts? Are you curious about the safety and career paths for women in the Merchant Navy? Do you want a granular breakdown of the exact daily duties for specific ranks? Or maybe an inside look at the actual shipboard working conditions? Let us know what you want us to dive into next. Until then, stay focused, chart your course carefully, and keep learning.